All right, hello, wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and we've had an incredible start to 2014. Some wonderful personalities from the wine world been in to share their wines with us, and I was just out in Napa for Premier Napa, and got to meet the next generation of the Mondavi family from the Tim Mondavi side, Dante Mondavi, and he said, "Man, you know what? I'm coming to Miami in just a few weeks. What do you say we put something together with some of your wine drinking people?" And then he looked at the sales report from Continuum and said, "Ooh, you've only bought one six-pack of 2009 and no 2010. Usually we don't do events with people that don't buy our wine." And I said, "Man, Dante, I will buy as much Continuum as you guys will sell me, because to me, this is one of the most exciting areas in Napa Valley. Prichard Hill, I have to say that tasting to me overall, the quality higher than anywhere else in Napa on this visit. Although I love Oakville, I love Rutherford, I love other parts of Napa, I have to say the dirt up on the hill is really special. And this project started out with the 2005 vintage. You know, in 2004, the Mondavi family lost control of their Robert Mondavi winery due to a hostile takeover from Constellation Brands. And, well, they pretty much kicked the Mondavis out and said, you know, "Tim, we don't need your services anymore. Mike, you're out of here." And these guys started their own wineries. You know, they had plenty of money, and, you know, that's not really what drives this family. You know, they are passionate about the wine industry, and I think it's great for Tim to step aside and back, actually, and start making a small amount of wine and trying to make the highest quality wine he can. And this is only, we started out as like 2,000 case production. At the top of production, they're going to get to maybe 5,000 cases. And they just introduced a second wine here also to the lineup at Continuum. And, you know, like I said, these wines all most excellent to killer, every vintage on the table, 2005 through 2011. We tried this evening, and although some people didn't, looked at the 2005 and said, this wine's fading. You know what? 2005 is a great vintage. Maybe going through a little period right now where it's not really expressive, the fruit in it, but I found this wine to be very good, and most of the fruit for these first three vintages came from To Kalon Vineyard, which unfortunately they couldn't secure To Kalon Vineyard, the family, and they, you know, wanted to have an estate bottled wine, so they found, I think, you know, a piece of dirt that's even better than what they had at To Kalon here up on Prichard Hill. So the first vintage, very different in style than all the others. It seemed to maybe be going through a little phase where the fruit just was not really showy, but this wine still, after it opened up, and the next morning, incredibly complex, incredibly dense and rich. Like I said, just not quite as sweet, the fruit in this wine, as the other wines, but still lovely balance. And hey, it got 3 votes for first place. That's right, there was only 15 people here. Dante didn't vote, and I didn't vote until this morning. I really like the 05, though. I rated this my second highest score, most excellent. This wine has got a long finish and lots of everything, wonderful balance. The 2006, a real blockbuster next to 2005, and I can see why people went from 5 and went to 6 and went, "Ooh, I don't like the 5," or the 5 is inferior to all the rest of the wines, because 2006 still a fruit bomb, man, really big. This wine also from the To Kalon Vineyard, 100%, and really rich, man. Lots of dense, sweet, currant cassis berry fruit, and still quite primary there, with a good hand of earth and tobacco spice. Big and chewy wine on the tongue. This wine's got excellent structure. Tannin still quite firm. That's a feature of the 2006 vintage. Current cassis berry fruit, still liqueur-like in richness. Really lovely notes of bitter cocoa and espresso coming through on the finish. This wine really well endowed. Lots of minerality, lots of fruit. Should last another 20 years. Only got 1 vote for first place. That wasn't far off from any of the wines on the table, in my opinion. The 2007 killer juice, and this is mostly To Kalon with a little bit of Prichard Hill fruit, 14% in the blend here. And wow, this wine showing a little bit more reserved at first on the nose, but really opening up nicely as the evening went on. A host of fresh earth, spice, lovely complexity after a couple of hours. The fruit starting to come out of this wine, just singing on the palate right now too. Very smooth, no hard edges at all, really supple and round. This wine had wonderful balance, a lot of that earth and herbs and cocoa, toasty oak spice, and red and dark currant berry fruit, and a lot of nice fresh acidity holding things together. This wine, like I said, just had nothing out of place. Wonderfully balanced, and got 4 first place votes and 3 second place votes, making it the wine of the night on the scorecard this evening. But the 2008, not far off. It also got 4 votes from first place, And this wine's got 70% Prichard Hill fruit. This is where the fruit source changed '07 to '08 to mostly Prichard Hill. And, I think the 2012 is all Prichard Hill fruit. But this wine has a lovely richness, a little bit more fruit first apparent on the nose. They have 38 different lots up on Prichard Hill that they all ferment separately, and they come up with a blend for this wine. And wow, it is like I said, really rich and intense. There's something special about this dirt up on the hill there. Currant, cassis berry fruit, an array of sweet tobacco, spice, espresso, dark chocolate, and more layers of dark berry fruit there on the tongue with big tannins, but ripe and round. This wine fairly approachable right now, but a long finish. This wine should last 10 or 20 years also easily. And second place here with... well, because it only got one vote for second place. All right, most excellent juice. The 2009 was killer. One of my wines for the night. And the biggest bouquet, even right after opening, man. This wine just jumped out of the glass. Dark berry fruit, cassis, black cherry liqueur, dark chocolate in this wine, espresso, fresh plowed black earth. A lot of minerality to this wine, but a lot of fruit and just exploding on the palate, on your tongue. This wine is big and rich, but smooth and ripe tannins here. Again, giving this wine the impression of velvet-like on the back of your palate. Drinking really nicely right now. Very nice balance in this wine, but man, just huge, intense fruit. This wine needs some time here. It's got 4 votes for first, after I voted on the next day, and 2 votes for second, putting it in second place of the night, right behind the 2007. But I think this wine has got even more potential for the future. 2010 was a cool late season, and you really noticed this in a more classic style wine in 2010. And this wine, even more Prichard Hill Estate fruit, and a lot of some currant and cassis berry fruit here, but needs a little time to coax out of it. More of the graphite and the mineral notes showing on the nose there. Not sweet like the other wines on the palate, more savory, but still lovely concentration, lovely richness in this wine, and lovely balance. Need a little more time to come around. A really firm hand of acidity, which leads me to believe that this wine is going to have a long life ahead of it. Nice bitter cocoa and toasty oak spice on the finish. Got 1 vote for first place, or for second place, so the 2010, not a real showy wine, but still most excellent on my scorecard. 2011... wow, this wine was a crowd favorite. 2011 not being touted as a very good vintage at all, but, up on the hill because they're above the fog line. They didn't have an issue with rain, with rot, and other things like that up on the hill. Another reason why you want to be up on the hill in the vintage like 2011. A really forward and seductive wine on the nose, and it had a lot of nice dark currant cherry berry fruit, and really nice earthy component to this wine too. Dark chocolate, you notice that toasty oak spice in there as well. Big and chewy on the tongue, but again, this wine is silky. The tan is really ripe in this wine, and a lot of black cherry liqueur-like fruit, and really velvety on the back of your palate also. This wine got 3 votes for first place and 5 votes for second place. I'm sorry, no, just 5 votes for second place. And, real crowd pleaser, though. It seemed like a lot of people put the 2011 among their favorite wines, even though it wasn't second. I always ask people at the end of the night, give me your top 2 wines, and some people will only give you 1. Some people give you 4 wines. And the 2011 got a lot of mentions after third. Anyways, everything on the table, most excellent to killer. Thank you, Dante, for coming and explaining to us the next greatest, latest thing from the Mondavi family. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.